pan of it.
A lot of people pan us, there's no doubt about it. Video panning takes a lot less time than a magazine review, though.
They spend hours trying to pretend that they're doing you a favor.
All the video people have to do is make you look silly, and in 2 seconds it's over.
So we're going to get...
We take care of that.
We'll make ourselves...
Don't give away the idea. They'll all be doing it.
Okay, here we go. Okay, how about this quote? This is a quote from Jerry. Well, DEVO is like...
I'll take this. Get the sound right up to him there, Jerry.
Yeah, I got the lavalier. You can go that way. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jerry.
Angus.
Bob. Bob 1, I should say.
Alan. Bob 2.
And this guy, he made them laugh because his name is really Chris Christopherson. It's not Angus.
Ever since Mark died swallowing his own vomit about 3 weeks ago, the band was about ready to break up. Before they called me up and asked me if I'd be interested in working with them, and I said, yeah, but you boys got to change your PR. You know, it's like the band never said that they didn't like religion or they didn't care for Christianity. They just said they would rather have cancer than a lot of religion.
I can add to that we did need a man with a beard. After all, people thought we were homosexuals before Chris Christopherson joined the group.
Frankly, the band really did have a wimp image. We're working now on chest hair grafts and things like that.
And guns. Chris gave us guns.
Guns, that's really what the band was missing in the past.
Blunderbusts.
People understand guns.
Chris designed the poster for the Reagan campaign. I don't know if many of you saw it, the one approved by the National Republican campaign headquarters that showed Mr. Reagan in a white Stetson with a blue work shirt against a pastel green field of scenes from a bygone America, the America we all miss and have come to love. Covered bridge, the church steeple, the McCormick Reaper in the wheat field. Beautiful scenes of an America that we got to return to, and frankly, Chris here is doing a good job.
Reagan country.
That's right. We're for the covered wagon.
In the covered bridge. In the covered cheeks.
Covered mandibles.
Okay, the new album, New Traditions. Could you explain the concept behind the album? Sure.
Well, we were tired of old traditions. I guess we're the only ones that are. But in keeping with following our own consciences, we tried to initiate some new traditions. We're tired of the traditions of the industrial 20th century. Well, they've been around ever since Christianity, I think. Exploitation, sadomasochism, greed, rape of the environment, genetic tyranny by some families over the rest of the country. All the ones we've come to know and love over the last 300-400 years. Actually, we're tired of them because they're so predictable and they're so boring, and we feel there can be new traditions. That's why we picked the happy astronaut as a symbol. He kind of has that clean face of the future where you can rewrite some rules.
He's not surrounded by obsolete technology either.
How about the pomp pieces? You know that there are resemblance to JFK's hairstyle. What is their significance?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head. We designed them after the JFK hairdo, and they were fashioned by a friend of ours named Brent Scribner, who engineered our design of the red hats.
Brent, by the way, knew John F. Kennedy personally. and had a chance to study his pomp closely.
We feel that nowadays the circumstances call for pomp, and we're here. Here. There's been a slight change in them, though, from the design to the actuality of them. They more or less resemble used car salesmen's hairdos more than JFK. We think that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Kind of a Pan-American howdy-doody look.
Is that howdy doody?
Howdy doody.
Going back to an earlier quote, Jared, that you made, you said, DEVO's like surgeons getting rid of all the flabby, horrible, derivative rock and roll crap.
Right, the big patches of cellulite. We're here to give the culture a little tummy tuck.
In what way? How are you going about that?
By promoting and by example and by deed new traditions, modern attitudes for a modern world, to get rid of the indulgence and self-destructive characteristics of beliefs that are no longer applicable or humane in the world situation the way it is.
How about the origin of DEVO? I'm sure you've been asked this lots of times. And remember the first film, in the beginning, or the end of the beginning?
In the beginning was the end.
DEVO. What was the, where did this whole idea for DEVO generate from? Do you guys have an art background? No doubt.
Don't tell anyone that.
When did this concept come before the music, or after the music, or when did
it kind of came with the music.
Was formed in spite of the Bible.
Do you think, though, Mark, it's possible, although we appreciate the Abe Lincoln, Chris Christopherson,
Chris Christopherson.
Is it possible that we could maybe hear you without the beard?
It is, but it'll take a minute because this is a special, it's a special beard that hides spittle. In other words, he can chaw, and this is a trough that recirculates everything. It's called an excrematron beard.
And I got a collection right now, so should empty it somewhere.
Just turn around and just go ahead.
Someone want to catch this? Don't get any on you.
Okay, thank you.
Background, yes.
But as far as in the early days when you guys first got together, when did this whole concept really occur to you to use as an ideology for all your albums, or I mean for all your music?
Well, it was just an accumulative effect of attitudes connected to specific references in the culture, in magazines, in films, well-known sources that everybody understands that we were inspired by or drew from, like the Island of Lost Souls with Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney Jr. and Charles Laughton, and a book called The Beginning Was the End, or Knowledge Can Be Eaten by Oskar Kismyarth. He's a Czechoslovakian anthropologist turned Buddhist monk who promoted the theory of de-evolution. He says that indeed man came from cannibalistic apes who, by eating the brains of other apes, became mutant, became insane because their physical brains grew faster than the cranium could contain them, creating new pressures, releasing new chemicals, and giving these people super powers. They noticed an increase in intellect. They noticed an increase in sexual appetites. And this is, in fact, when the apes left the trees, according to Oskar. And so that what we are is insane mutant apes, hairless apes, that lost our connection to nature and therefore rely on a body of conscious knowledge outside of what's intuitive in our animal nature, and which sets us on just an increasingly insane spiraling path.
Now you have to understand, it isn't our fault that we are collecting all this information. A lot of it is just something we had to do, and it was our duty, and we're really just responding to our genetic imperative, things going off inside. That there's no direct outside commands, really.
What about letters to media? That would.
Just getting closer on the side.
It's a tough position to be in because we actually know what keeps us going. We know what's chasing us, and we can talk about it. It doesn't make us any less real. It doesn't make what we do any less real. It's just that being self-aware puts you in a strange position.
But I mean, like, are you guys serious? You know, that would be the question that would come up. Obviously, you have a tremendous sense of humor in your music, but then, are you really serious about it?
Damn serious.
There's no doubt about it.
Right. So what would
This isn't the kind of thing you do for the fun of it. I'm sure everyone here would attest to that.
Nobody's having any fun right now, isn't it right?
That's right. Are you? He's right. He hit the nail right on the head.
How would you react if someone calls your philosophy rehashed pop wisdom and self-serving? What would you react?
What was the thing?
Self-serving.
Oh, not
Like
surfing?
No, not like self-service. I don't know. Self-serving philosophy seems to be the backbone of America. We're just serving up some of our own.
Rehash, that's just, you're just shading in the picture there.
Anyway, we'd have to find out who said it. We want pictures of them naked. We want what they eat. We want their medical records. We want their IQ tests.
Right.
At a certain point, you know, how can you respond to yellow journalism like that? You know, there's like these people hide behind, you know.
No, we're not saying that they were yellow, by the way.
How about your first album? You had a single, I think, Jocko Homo, and then you had your first album, which was produced by Eno.
Yes.
What was that experience like? Did he influence your image, ideology, or your sound in any way that you thought was really positive? What was the experience like?
Right after that, he decided he was in love with David Byrne, and we decided to quit being an art band.
What is an art band?
An art band?
Yeah.
Let me think. Name some art bands. I better not, it'll get me in trouble. Art bands are in love with their own poo-poo.
Fika, fika.
How about, what is the concept of a Fuji Boy? And you had the whole club, or the society concept with the general Fuji Boy with newsletters. Who brought that up? Who really created that out of the band? Who was the inspiration for that?
Actually, no one in the band will fess up to it. And we've interrogated each other, you know, like with flashlights in the middle of the night, and tried all different kinds of methods, and we still haven't figured it out.
Who's Fuji Boy? Boogie Boy, pardon me.
I think everybody knows who Boogie Boy is. But that doesn't make him somebody else. Boogie Boy is a mascot, is a symbol. Kind of a devolutionary Ronald McDonald. He's the infantile spirit behind the whole thing. Kind of promoting the idea of naive curiosity and exploration.
There was one of the videos that you did, which I thought was very interesting, as they all are, was Whip It. And like at the very end, Alan, you broke from the set, and of course someone pulled the snare drum aside from you.
I didn't want him to trip.
Right. And of course you were going after a distressed subject. What were you doing? What did you do when you went after her? What was the point of that?
It was just one of those spontaneous moments that happen when you're in these creative situations. And
in all seriousness, he probably doesn't want to tell you, but just about one foot past the camera, he tripped on a bale of hay and fell flat on his face. He never got to Shayla the Sandinista. That was Shayla the Sandinista.
What was the idea with it? Like a lot of
people misunderstood that, as they do often misunderstand us. And I said, you know, we have to take that responsibility, I guess. I guess we ask for it. But Whippet was not, as some people thought, a prototype for a Jordache Jean commercial, even though lately one jean company has completely ripped off the Whippet look and set in a serious jean ad, but we won't mention them. That
begins
was
with an S.
could be said soon.
It was
too words.
Oh no, that's too soon. It was just a kind of a panoramic view of America. I mean, you got Mom baking an apple pie at the ranch on a Saturday afternoon, while the kids are out in the corral listening to a rock and roll band play while they drink Bud, and they're watching a show. Somebody's entertaining them. They're watching a Sandinista revolutionary be whipped while they drink Bud. We kind of thought it was a kind of a readout on, you know, the ranch, California, Ronnie, jodhpurs, boots and cowboy hats. Seems like America can't get enough of cowboys as their major symbol, their major mythology. You know, genetic defectives with guns, with right-wing values who go around shooting up the landscape and refusing to pay taxes. It's like a ridiculous, regressive image that is in everyone's head. That's why you can have billboards all over L.A. that say, you know, Mama, we all grew up to be cowboys, or whatever they say. DEVO's just here to tell people, believe it or not, I'm sorry to say that not everyone grew up to be cowboys. Some of us grew up to be astronauts.
What about the concepts of the video? You guys are responsible for the whole concept and storyboarding.
Yeah.
You directed it.
Yeah, we've always worked with our friend Chuck Statler, who we knew back in Akron. Then he moved to Minneapolis and he shot commercials for a time, and then his first venture into the musical short category was with us because we had talked about it for years. So we plan it together as a group and decide what we're going to do, and Mark and I storyboard it, and I write out a little script, and then there's just a nice kind of corroboration between us and Chuck Statler, where he kind of produces the film, and I pretty much am in charge of directing the film.
Which, by the way, Jerry is the only director in Hollywood that doesn't have a beard and a mustache. Just as a matter of record. Okay, there we've said it.
Mark, how about, could you, one of the new videos, which I've not seen at all, is called Through Being Cool. Could you maybe describe that? Or just say something about that?
Well, the main characters are kind of like DEVO version of the Mouseketeers. And
yeah.
They'll just have to wait to see it.
Evil Mouseketeers running around with laser guns cleaning up the countryside. Basically.
Okay, what about, can I ask a question about Club DEVO? About the merchandising aspect of it?
Sure.
How do you feel about the DEVO? Is it?
I wish it was making money, is how I feel about it.
But apparently it's making so much, like, it's made something like $100 grand and less.
Oh, you're referring to an LA magazine article or something. Well, as everyone here can attest, that was written on that person's own volition without input from the band, and the facts are obviously distorted. I mean, it may have mentioned that we grossed some figure like 100,000. What it neglected to mention is that the expenses were at least that much. In other words, it's operating in the red. We hope it'll stop doing so, but We started it because we wanted to. We like it. We want it to be something special. We want it to be something that makes other merchandise seem, you know, very crass and undesirable, because at least ours is creative. Ours is designed and generated by us, unique, one-of-a-kind items that are a little more imaginative than a T-shirt with a horrible decal on it or something. And it's only a beginning. We would like Club DEVO to be a kind of a total service wing of DEVO, offering things that you can't offer through the corporate structure. You know, you give to Caesar what Caesar's, and then the rest to DEVO. We this year are offering a Muzak tape that is Muzak versions of our songs. Certainly a record company wouldn't be interested in that, but DEVO fans are. It's something extra. It's the underside of the aesthetic. It's the part that doesn't fit the corporate product. It's the thing that allows DEVO's like full aesthetic to come through by showing those other things that we do that we're not allowed to supposedly do, or no one in the company wants to admit to. We'd like to start a magazine with input from readership. We would like to do something beyond throwaway paper fashions. I certainly would. I mean, we have always been a fashion, music, idea, lifestyle conglomerate from the beginning, before the New Romantics made it popular in England or something. We started that. I really feel we started that vein, and we are serious about it, and we can't think of a better way to go about it, you know, except in a step-by-step basis. We're doing what we can within our limitations for right now.
Can I pause for a minute?
It's great. Cheers. I mean, personally, I just think it's humorous. I mean,
What?
it's so it's great.
Yeah, we had to drive.
Okay, we're rolling again. Right now?
Want to let Alan bring us in?
Sure. Oh, you just, yeah, go ahead and put it, it won't match with the other shots.
He'll bring it into the picture.
Let's take a second. Let's just grab it.
Tape rolling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Anytime you're ready.
Alan?
Aren't you Alan?
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm Jerry.
Jerry.
Okay.
The way you can tell is Alan's better looking than I am. Well, some of the band members said we should just show the people in case they haven't seen.
I got too hot on that.
Okay.
Too high.
Nutra is sexy.
He'll do that to you, too.
Take control of that. Go ahead.
We're nude to this video, Jerry. Man, my one arm's going to
Some of the band members mentioned that we should possibly show Nutra. That's the new traditionalist man. There he is, Nutra. He's kind of a friendly guy. This is kind of DEVO's godhead. It stands up on its own, as you can see. Oops, you can see.
So there is a trick to it. It doesn't really just float there.
No. He'll be on many people's dressers, I hope. Nutra. Rather than an astronaut. I mean, astronaut, if you break that down, it's Greek. Ass, behind, tro, into, and not, like for not, or...
Donut.
and meaning do not go behind. So an astronaut keeps his troubles behind him and keeps going so they don't catch up with him.
What do you, none of you are Scientologists by any chance?
No, no.
Okay, your ideology really runs a close first or a close second to a certain L. Ron Hubbard's type of thinking, or whether it's original or real or not. What do you think of the Scientology outlook compared to the DEVO outlook, or using Scientology as an example?
We are not, nor have we ever been, into mind control. In fact, if what we are probably advocating is a mind that's pleasantly out of control. We don't think people need more control, we think they need less. Control comes from being in touch with the whole picture, not from shutting things out or adhering to some kind of like fascistic ideology to keep you in tow, but rather it just comes from understanding your imagination and not being afraid of it. I don't think Scientology has much to do with that.
If you think of the human mind as kind of a football of life.
Made of cottage cheese.
Made of cottage cheese, and it's the football of life. You want to run that football for a touchdown.
Sometimes, though, you got to put it on a roller coaster and send it through an amusement park.
Right, strapped in and freewheeling.
But it can come back smelling like oily rides.
How about your hometown, Akron, Ohio? I remember you toured an article from '79 or something like that, how you did a tour, a separate article in Band magazine, I think, a Bay Area magazine. And of all the places you chose to skip, that tour was your hometown, because I guess they didn't really respond to you as much as, say, San Francisco area.
That's right. It wasn't a choice. They didn't want us to play in Akron.
They skipped us.
Yeah. How do you mean?
Nobody offered to have us come and play. Asked us.
I think they offered $500.
Stay out.
But it would cost about $3,000 to have played there. So we didn't feel like spending $2,500 to play in our hometown.
But how could you be as well accepted and popular at that point in other cities and other areas, really, and not your hometown where you, no doubt, when they first heard of you and where you first got started?
Nobody likes to hear the truth.
Besides, as a matter of fact, Akron, I think this year they had their first punk show up downtown. They're kind of like safely insulated from everything else that goes on in the world.
What's Akron? Is Akron just a Straightville, Centerville, USA or something?
I don't know what it is now. When we were there, the factories were still there. They've moved out. So it was an industrial, blue-collar town inhabited by descendants of West Virginia with sons and daughters that drove big, customized vans and ate pounds of Quaaludes and searched around for Bad Company and Foreigner and Van Halen music. And now they've lost their plants. They've moved down south, so they have an industrial city without industry. And it ought to be getting pretty interesting there by now.
Yeah, they did have the first judge to be indicted on 21 counts, including murder.
That's true. And child molestation.
But that's, no doubt, the DEVO ideology is a strong opposition to the Akron environment which you were brought up in.
Yeah, Akron's one example of the kind of consequences of the kind of thought, the kind of ideas people have, about the world, the kind of thought we're trying to deal with. I mean, you have a town full of bad spuds there.
Speaking of spuds, I have a really overly asked question, but who or what is a spud?
Oh, we're spuds. Well-groomed spuds. Just somebody from the common gene pool, not particularly glamorous, not born with a silver spoon, No one here looks like Warren Beatty, although he looks a little like RFK, I must say. It's those East Coast genes.
What about the success of DEVO? You guys, no doubt, have gotten tremendous radio play, and no doubt have sold a number of LPs. And your financial situation has improved drastically, I'm sure. Has that affected you, or not? You wanted to...
We haven't really felt much of an effect. We were always more or less in debt until Freedom of Choice, and then when Whip It became a hit, quite honestly, that's the first time we made any money. We didn't make a great deal of money. People still drive Scirocco's. No one owns a house. It's not changed. Nothing's changed for us, except that possibly a few more people got to hear us, which we're happy about. And we got to make 3 video shorts this time to our album, rather than 2, which we're happy about. Because from the beginning, DEVO has been a film and or video oriented group. We've never tried to mask that idea. It's simply a fact that we've been quite upfront about from the beginning that everybody seems to ignore because they want to put you in the mold of a rock and roll group on a record. But what we're all about is creating a medium, a genre that is not patently rock and roll, that isn't about, you know, singing songs about losing your girl and fighting in the street and being a Camel smoker with a plaid shirt, or a punked out rebellious rock and roller with visions of the 50s dancing in his head. We are dealing with a medium that is quite apart from that. Jocko Homo was a soundtrack for a movie. It was conceived that way. It was written that way. We're still trying to do it. That is what we're really doing all the time.
Right, getting towards it like a feature-length film.
Absolutely.
How close are you at this point?
We're getting closer now that we've developed a kind of a portfolio of shorts. In 1 week, when these are finished, we'll be finished editing them, by about the 18th of September. I don't know when this airs or if that's irrelevant, but we'll have like 11 film shorts under the DEVO belt. And we're trying to get the interest, more than the interest, we're trying to get the budget for a feature. And, we think it's about to happen. But we would like to make a 3D feature and then in 2 years make a hologram feature and broadcast it simultaneously in 40 cities worldwide and show up in those cities at the premieres when it shows again in its own dates and have press conferences and parties. In other words, we would like to entertain people on a completely different level than they're being entertained right now, on a more holistic, more intense level. It wouldn't be competitive with the old, strumming minstrel, the troubadour going throughout the land, belting out rock and roll. It would merely be different.
How do you react? This is regressing a bit, because we're all de-evolutionary. This DEVO is designed to make connections and disorient people's pat reactions to reality so that they stop thinking like they're supposed to think.
That's right.
What is the state of mind of youth today? Are we really robots or something? What is our situation? If we're coming to you for guidance.
Yes.
Could you comment on the situation? What is this? Are we educated improperly or something? Why are we stuck like this?
If we knew, we probably wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We only know the symptoms. We only know the results. We can only point to things. The way you point to an image, you see the astronaut head and you go, look, neutrons. You can only point out phenomena and then try to deal with it. We try to sift through it and not just respond to the surface. I mean, I don't know why people are how they are. If I did, I might be B.F. Skinner. They do respond just to isolated events without ever stringing them together, getting a whole picture. It's just like a baby going from a red sparkle to a blue ball to a pink rattle, like that. It seems to be, it seems to be the level of consciousness of most people. They need their junk, whatever it is. And they need to be fed constantly, like in the little shop of horrors. Feed me. And they want. But they don't put anything back in. It's like industrial societies taking all the resources out of the earth and then figuring out later that there's only so much in there. Whoops.
Is there a book? Are you writing a book? Is there a book called My Struggle or...
That's been done for quite some time. That's Boogie Boy's book. It's bound in red leatherette. It's about 300 pages long with an introduction by Chinaman. And it's about everything. It's a kind of uncensored, free association, a perception of the world as it really is.
So sounds very similar to translation in German of the infamous...
Of another man's struggle. Well, there's only one problem. He wasn't really very creative in his... He wasn't really, in the end, very entertaining. He was rejected.
He's also fairly dead, probably, at this point.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a spare time, and what do you guys enjoy?
What do you... That's a good question. What do you do for fun?
Drive to the next interview.
Oh, I like to look in shop windows at night when the stores are closed.
No, do people come clawing at you in downtown Los Angeles if they recognize you speaking?
No one recognizes us. That's one advantage of being a common spud. It'll work good either way. If DEVO is a dead issue in 1 year, we won't be harassed by people going, oh, you guys failed. And if that doesn't happen, we maybe can still eat in a local restaurant without being harassed.
Just one last question. This is also with regard to Club DEVO. There's a quote, I think, from Mark Rosbaum. He said one time, we're in a corporate society, you have to face it, use it creatively. Are you using it creatively by your marketing technique with Club DEVO?
We saw lots of bad versions of bootlegs of our stuff, and we get 100 letters a day from kids that want to know where they can get DEVO products. And it's a lot better than Van Halen t-shirts. Red energy domes can have a number of purposes. You can use them for cake molds, flower pots, porta-johns,
AccuJacks. Yeah, some would say that we are using it creatively. Others would say we're being done in by it, and we invite both responses, and we invite people to watch us walk the tightrope and see what happens next. I mean, this is a corporate feudal state where the gap between the haves and the have-nots is as clear as the moat around the castle. There's the serfs outside, and then there's the king and his entourage on the inside. And I think it's quite obvious. And we now have a president who's promoting it and cleaning it up and making it happen even faster, accelerating the rate. Nobody realized, or if they did, they didn't care to deal with it, that the only way those kind of policies and those perceptions of a society could work that our president was promoting was to be more unfair to some and give more to others. It's quite easy to figure it out.
What about the film with Neil Young? Wasn't Bougie Boy or Boogie Boy? Didn't he make was he featured in the film that hasn't yet seen the screen?
He recites a poem in that movie, and who knows if it'll ever come out. We don't